Alright, so we better do a video on this morning too, quickly. This was thrown into the comments too. I'm feeling motivated today, energized. So we'll go over this here quick. It's what it is it's a bill relating to private property during an emergency through the state of Oregon. This is the PDF version. The summary of the bill. The following summary is not prepared by the sponsors of the measure and is not part of the body thereof, subject to consideration by the Legislative Assembly. It is an editor's brief statement of the essential features of the measure as introduced. Relating to private property during emergency, amending ORS 35.35. If it's amended, you might not be able to find this. I didn't look these up, but I did look up a couple of the other bills related to this that will be more important anyway to describe what this bill is a little bit. So this chapter does not affect the ability of a public body as defined in ORS 174.109, the definition of a public body defined as ORS 174.109 is as used in the statutes of this state. Public body means state government bodies, local government bodies, and special government bodies. So what this initially is saying in the bill, that this chapter does not affect the ability of basically the state ordinances to take immediate possession of property in an emergency that possesses a threat to persons or property under the direction of the governor under ORS 401, excuse me, .188. So, meaning this bill will not hinder the ability of the government to enact this. It's basically saying this bill, there's nothing within this that says you can't go take people's stuff, basically. Under ORS 401.188. So that is management of resources during an emergency. And essentially, it's the bulk of what's contained in this bill anyway. We'll actually go to the other page that I was just showing you. We'll read it from there because it's a little bit easier to see. Anyway, carrying on. An owner of property that is used or possessed only temporarily under this section is not entitled to compensation except as the owner may prove entitlement to compensation under Article 1, Section 18 of the Oregon Constitution. I didn't look that up. I probably should have too. I apologize. I don't live in Oregon. If you do, then you'd probably better look this up so you know if this troubles you or concerns you. So, but I'd imagine that it has to do with you either have a deal already with the government that you're working with them and that they may be partially responsible for your equipment or possessions, or insurance. Your insurance can cover it. It's going to be something like that at least anyway, right? Section 2 of ORS 401.188 is amended to read, whenever the governor has declared a state of emergency, the governor may issue, amend, and enforce rules and orders to, as I said, we'll go and we'll read it over here because it's a lot easier to read. Control, restrict, and regulate by rationing, freezing, use of quotas, prohibitions on shipments, price fixing, allocation of or other means, the use, sale, or distribution of food, feed, fuel, clothing, and other commodities, materials, goods, and services. Meaning all of these things can be seized in a time of emergency for government use or recommendation, no matter what, really. If it's enacted, it's enacted. Section 2 of this states, prescribe and direct activities in connection with use, conservation, salvage, and prevention of waste of materials, services, and facilities, including but not limited to production, transportation, power and communication facilities, training, and supply of labor, utilization of industrial plants, health and medical care, nutrition, housing, rehabilitation, education, welfare, child care, recreation, consumer protection, and other essential civil needs, and take any other action that may be necessary for the management of resources following an emergency. Formerly 401.085, which is why I say amendments might not even show up, because this is a former. If you go to it, there's nothing here anymore. So it's more or less contained, and I would say probably coupled with all of this. So they can come and take your stuff in state of emergency so that everything may be preserved, and then can take any other action that may be necessary for management of resources following an emergency, meaning the government can come and take anyone's personal stuff in a state of emergency in order to manage it under said state of emergency. So it's a potentially dangerous bill, depending on how it gets used ultimately. But it is definitely something for everyone to know and to look at and to consider. So I won't go too much further into it than that. You've seen the video. If you want to know more about it because it concerns you because of where you live, then by all means go ahead. And thank you very much to Sleeping Dogs for putting your comment up. This is all about participation. I've said from the beginning in my first video, Spaceman Dawning, that I am just a regular guy. I'm here to do anything that I can to try to help. And, you know, it's a participation thing. It's a voluntary participation. So I love everyone who comes and helps in the comments section. I appreciate you guys the most. Well, I don't want to say that to leave everyone else out, but I mean, you guys do contribute just that little bit extra besides pushing the like button, which I really appreciate too from everyone. And even just the viewership. And of course, sharing is one of the biggest things that you can do for this channel that is unmonetized. I have not started a PayPal or anything like that, although I may at some point. We'll see what happens. I'm more interested in trying to maybe at some point get some merchandise going so that you actually get something for your money that you can be proud of. So if it's a coffee mug or a shirt or a hat, and then you can wear it around or take it to the office and maybe other people will inquire, what's Based Spaceman? That's a pretty cool shirt. And then we can get them on board too with some extracurricular thinking, if you will. So thank you very much once again, and we're gonna turn out some more videos pretty quick here today too. So this won't be it, but stay tuned. All right, peace out.